Thank you, Derek. And good evening, Keiko. Thank you for joining us all the way from New York.
Thanks for having me.
So you starred as Rory's best friend Lane in 7 seasons of Gilmore Girls from 2000 to 2007. And that show was so popular that in 2016, Netflix released a 4 episode sequel to that show. What was it like to be an Asian American principal character at such a young age on a hit show?
Back in the day, it wasn't like that. People forget we were on the CW, we were on the WB, and it wasn't like we were like a Friends type show. It was this small show. Some people knew about it, but a lot of people wouldn't admit that they watched it because it was called Gilmore Girls. And the feeling at that time was that it was a girly show and you couldn't admit, and it was on the WB, so you couldn't admit that you watched it. I think it was only later on that people kind of had this fondness for it. But it's interesting because as I think back now, at the time, I really didn't grasp that it was a strange for me to be on or that character to exist. And I think part of that was just almost like a willing having blinders on, because to be able to work or to even dream of being an actress in general, you almost have to sort of not realize how rare it is, your opportunities. Otherwise, you probably will become paralyzed, or at least I would. So I think I just, at that time, I was just taking it day by day and grateful to have any job at all and not really realizing that it might have been such a special thing, to be honest. Now I really appreciate it.
Right. Well, and especially that character was groundbreaking in the fact that she didn't really fit the Asian stereotype.
Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with the fact that she's loosely based on an actual person. And so a lot of the stories, though they were very much exaggerated, are based off of stories that Helen Pye, who was one of the producers on the show, had actually told Amy Sherman Palladino, who was a showrunner. The fact that Lane, who ended up being Lane, but Helen, when she was a kid, had a closet where she hid all of her rock records, where she had a little posters set up that she had to hide from her mother. And
right. Well, so in all honesty, I actually have never watched Gilmore Girls.
Oh my God, I'm ending this interview right now.
But so I was going to show a clip from Gilmore Girls, but the more I read about it, because your character really intrigued me, her rebelliousness and how she didn't fit Asian stereotypes. But suddenly I read at the end, she gets pregnant, she gets married. I mean, it was just like completely implausible and like such an undeserving end to your character that, I just can't show a clip of it anymore. I think they completely ruined your character at the end. Did you have any feelings like that?
You know what? I wish that she had had a different life trajectory. I mean, at the time, like I said, I was so grateful to have a job, to be working. I did not, if my name was in the script, I celebrated. That's the personality type I am. But I think in looking back, I wish that she had had a different life path. Part of that is because we had different showrunners. I'm not blaming them, but we had different showrunners the last 2 years of our series when Gilmore Girls was originally out. And I think certain things may have changed in those last 2 years that maybe weren't necessarily going to be the path that character took. So,
well, then let's just move on to something more current.
Sure.
So in 2018, you released a book, No Mistakes, a perfect workbook for imperfect artists. Can you talk about this workbook and what inspired you to write it?
Sure. It originally was going to be an adult coloring book. I had, just for fun, started drawing just to take my mind off of acting work. And some people had liked it, and there was some interest in me doing a coloring book, but it quickly became more of an artist workbook in our development of it. And the process of doing it really became, well, what do I need to tell myself? Because I think to be an artist is very difficult. To try to make money as an artist is very difficult. And there are challenges at every step of the way. So when you're starting, there are certain challenges. And as you go along, there are certain challenges. And there's a lot of self-care that has to happen. There's a lot of maintenance that has to happen emotionally. And there are little tips and tricks that I use, and that there are things that I need to tell myself. And so I kind of use that time to just pour all of that into this little workbook. So there are little bits of things that I find useful and little exercises. And so that's what the workbook became. And you can get it on Amazon for like $12 or something. So go ahead and order it. It's available at where all books are sold. That's my plug.
So currently, you are filming the second season of the Fox crime drama Prodigal Son, where you played Dr. Idrissa Tanaka, an NYPD medical examiner with a romantic interest in the protagonist Malcolm, a disgraced former FBI profiler who now works for the NYPD. Let's watch a clip.
Stop, you're too close. Special Agent Bright, it's me, Idrissa. Oh. You're, too close.
I'm sorry, Dr. Tanaka. Or is it Ms. Tanaka?
Ms. Tanaka, definitely. It's so good to see you.
I'm away in the car, cool?
I take it they were poisoned?
Take it. You are right.
Please just go. Shut up, both of you. Now go get him.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. You're just gonna have to shoot me.
It's just a body.
No, he is not just a body.
She's right. I'm sorry, these aren't just dead bodies. They're people who share their final moments with me. It's the ultimate privilege to be their last witness, and I won't let anyone dishonor that. You're dishonoring Kevin. If you really cared, you'd let him go.
I'm getting us our lives back, so go get him.
No.
Wait. What if we all go together?
Right.
Good, yeah. Come on. Life is full of risk, and death is messy. We need to face it. Maybe we can both face it together. What do you say, Leah? What was that? I'd almost talked her down.
You just said life was about taking risks. Weren't you talking to me?
Of course. Yeah. Police!
Put your hands behind your back.
You guys okay? Yeah. We're all good here. I handled it.
I see you.
So how have things changed for you as an Asian American actress from 20 years ago until now?
Well, it's actually kind of two things. So as far as how I've changed, I would say my relationship to acting is very different now than it was back then. I have more confidence, I have more tools, I have more a sense of myself now, definitely than I had 20 years ago, just from being in, you're in a certain profession for that long. I'm in a much better place. I think that the industry as a whole, as far as being Asian American in this industry, is also very different than it was back then. It's even for all of the terrible, terrible things that are happening right now, a lot of anti-Asian sentiment and a lot of challenges that Asian filmmakers and Asian creative people face, the challenges of that. It's still a much more exciting time. I think there are possibilities and ways to be creative and ways to connect with people. And I think there are more people that are willing to listen to you and give you a chance and see you in a different way than there were back then. So I'm really excited for, whenever it is that we get out of this quarantine and can start really, the engine can start going full steam again. But it's an exciting time, I think.
Yeah, and I'm actually very excited for this character. It seems like there's a lot of potential, and it seems like they are going to use the potential of this character to create more interesting storylines. So I'm really excited to see where that goes.
Cool, me too.
How about giving some aspiring actors some advice? Maybe something that you were told when you were younger or you had wished you'd been told earlier in your career?
Okay, well, a couple things. One is a piece of advice that I kind of always give when people ask, advice for an actor, is that to do it because you love it, to always remember that and go back to that well. Fame or money, it can come or it won't come, but a lot of that sometimes is not something that you have control over, and it can end up being very frustrating if that's the main thing that you're focusing on. And so along those lines is just to work and get your craft as good as it can be. I think Steve Martin said his famous quote is to be so good that they can't ignore you, and that's going to be fun if you are following the love of it. I think another thing, and this is something that that probably lands more in what I wish somebody had told me, is that is to cherish all of the connections that you make with people in the industry. Every person that you meet is important and valuable. Be kind, cherish those relationships, be genuine, be yourself. But if you have to choose between being yourself and being kind, be kind. That would be my advice.
That is fantastic advice. Thank you again for joining us, Keiko. And I can't wait to see the rest of this season of Prodigal Son.
Yay. Thanks, Guy.